In this video, we will be showing you how to install the belt assembly on an MP972 brush mulcher. First, pry the rotor over to the belt chamber as much as possible, then pry over the jack shaft as well. Put your spacers on the shaft, remember to put in the same amount of spacers as there was when taking the belt assembly apart. Put the taper hubs on, install the keys, then put the top pulley on as well as the belt. Put the taper hub bolts through the non-threaded holes on the pulley and then start the bolts. Now put the bottom pulley on as well as start the taper hub bolts. With a straight edge, check if the pulleys line up within 1/8 of an inch. If they don't, make sure to add more or less spacers behind the taper hubs for both of them to line up. Add more spacers if the shaft sticks past the taper hub. Start the center bolts. Now go around and evenly tighten the taper hub bolts, and then jam the rotor before torquing the bolts. Torque them to the right specification. In this case, these are 1/2 inch taper hub bolts that use a 3/4 socket, so they should be torqued to 60 foot-pounds. Using a straight edge, check once again if the pulleys are aligned. If they are not aligned within 1/8 of an inch, you will have to take one of the taper hub and pulleys off to add or remove a spacer behind the taper hub. To remove a pulley, remove the center bolt, loosen these bolts and start them in the threaded holes. Then go around and tighten them evenly until the pulley is loose. But before installing the taper hub bolts again, make sure to sand the ends of the bolts down to prevent stripping threads. Once you have the pulleys aligned, make sure that the ribs on the belt are sitting nicely in the grooves of the pulley. Then you can tighten the belt. To tighten the belt, you will have to have these bolts loose. Then evenly tighten these bolts on both sides. The proper belt tension specs would be 1/2 inch deflection at 4 1/4 pounds of force on a new belt and 1/2 inch deflection at 3 pounds of force for a used belt. With a level on the gearbox shaft and a level on the frame, adjust the tensioning bolts to have the level on the shaft match the level on the frame. Then tighten these bolts. Check the pulley alignment and belt tension one last time, and if all seems good, then you're ready to test out your new belt.